What's good? It's your boy CJ Goodfellow. We back with the boxing clinic one time for the one time. Y'all know what it is. Had to jump on, the peer-to-peer face video today. Talk about a very, very special fight that's coming up this weekend. Break down predictions of Vasyl, Lomachenko. Guillermo, Rigondeaux. Had a couple people ask me when I'm doing it, or they know I don't do it to the week of the fight. And here it is, man. We here. We back again. I've been on the boxing grind. We stay on the boxing grind. Most consistent boxing channel that I've seen on YouTube, and much respect to everybody out here on a grind. Shout out to Trap House Boxing. Go follow him. Moni Brown TV, Black Fight Fan, 7A Sports, Dante's Box Nation, Boxing Ego, all the good channels. But we here, and I broke down some film briefly. I didn't want to oversaturate my mind with film and to cloud my decision. But I did my due diligence on this fight. Let's talk about it. Two-time gold medalists in the ring. We know Rigondeaux is moving up 2 weight classes to fight Guillermo, to fight Vasyl Lomachenko. We discussed why is that the case. Because Top Rank wants Lomachenko to have as much advantages going into this fight as possible, because they don't want to lose another cash cow like they lost Nonito Donaire, popularity-wise, to Rigondeaux. So they want to make sure they got all the advantages versus Rigondeaux. And they got the weight. They got a little same-day weigh-in. Can't weigh more than 138, 9 a.m. of the fight. So they got that in place for Rigondeaux. At least he got something, being the C side in this, or the B side, because I think he getting paid $1 million. And this is an excellent fight. And, props to Bob Arum for making this fight, even though he had to make it on an uneven playing field. And a lot of people say, Rigondeaux could have fought him at 126. You believe what Bob Arum was kicking? They didn't want that fight at 126, man. They wanted it at 130. So Rigondeaux won't have any advantages. It's an uphill battle for him. He has asked for no excuses. And we will not give him no excuses, man. It is what it is. He signed up. He accepted it on, Top Rank with Vasyl Lomachenko's terms. But here we go, man. Briefly, let's talk about, what the fighters bring to the table before we break down the strengths and weaknesses. Start off with Lomachenko. He is the champion. What Lomachenko brings is awkwardness, unorthodox approach to the boxing ring. In the same breath as, I'm not saying he's similar, but as Roy Jones brought to the ring, guys that's just awkward. I mean, Jeff Horn's another awkward fighter that presents, just defies the laws of boxing, just guys of that nature. And when you're dealing with guys like that, it's predicated on the right game plan and timing and knowing what you're dealing with. You see how Montel Griffin, dealt with Roy Jones. Fudge had a great plan for him, even though it ended in controversy and got whooped the second fight. But he was outboxing Roy early in that fight. But that's kind of what Rigondeaux is going to have a plan like that. But Lomachenko's footwork what brings him to, pound for pound status. I mean, that's the number one thing, because his footwork allows him to get in and out of range. He's good at close, middle, and he's pretty decent at long range. Allows him to get in position to throw awkward punches, similar to what Manny Pacquiao did. It allows him to be defensive and offensive ready at the same time. And he's a well-rounded fighter. Now, Rigondeaux is another case. His footwork lays the groundwork for everything for him, but he's more of a defensive fighter that got real power. Lomachenko don't have that real power. Rigondeaux has legit power, like real elite type power, and his footwork is really, really good as well. And he's a calculated guy. Lomachenko's volume. Rigondeaux, he's a boxing move type of guy. Every time he moves, it's to set up something. And I've seen him in the amateurs move his hands a lot. I've seen him versus the Asian guy get knocked down a couple times and started to move his hands a lot. So he can be aggressive, and we'll see what the approach that he makes to this fight. But strengths. Start off with Rigondeaux. Footwork is a strength. Power is definitely the number one thing coming into this fight for him. He brings speed to the table. He brings so much to the table that, I couldn't get to everything. Counter punching, IQ, in round adjustments, you know, round by round adjustments, so much, man, so much. He's a very versatile fighter. And Lomachenko, you know, footwork, we talked about that, lays the groundwork for him offensively. You know, actually, all of these guys have excellent jabs, so I don't even speak on that. But volume punching, it makes up for his lack of power. You know, being able to fight and move and change ranges and fight at different ranges. You know, counter punching as well. You know, a lot of strengths, but the weaknesses is probably what you guys been waiting for. Rigondeaux' weakness is obviously his chin. And most people say it's his balance. His balance is a little off, but his chin, you know, he has been down a couple times. Other than that, sometimes, you know, he don't go for it. You know, he don't go for the kill. He'd rather just get a points decision. So aggressiveness, you know, and really trying to push and get a guy out of there for the most part. We've seen him just in snoozers and we'll just, you know, I'll point you to win. Even though, you know, he won't take a chance sometimes to knock you out. In this fight, he's going to need to take chances. So I classify that as a weakness. And pretty much that's it. Lomachenko weakness is he don't bring a lot of power. You know, he bring volume. That makes up for this lack of power. You know, you can pressure Lomachenko as well. And if you pressure and push the fight and make it a dirty fight, you can have a chance versus Lomachenko. We've seen that with Vasyl. If you get inside, grab and hold, headbutt and do dirty tactics, and really pressure him and don't let him dictate the pace and dictate what range he fight on, push him on the back foot. He's like other Europeans. You know, we've seen him fight on the back foot, but he's not most comfortable fighting on the back foot. He wants to come forward and use angles and dictate what's going on. But if you're able to push him back, you can have a chance. And we've seen that in a couple of his fights as well. But, you know, strategy right here. Strategy for Lomachenko. Let's jump into that. It would be for him to do what he do. Dictate the pace. Don't let Rigondeaux push him back. You know, use his jab. You know, step over, use his angles. But be cautious. I think pull back the volume a little bit early. Try to break some tendencies to try to throw these 3 or 4 shots at different angles, shorten it up, 1, 2, and then step out of range. And even though Rigondeaux has the longer arm reach, but he's shorter, then step out of range and dip and slip, you know, and then switch sides. Make sure he get this lead foot outside of Rigondeaux's lead foot. We know Rigondeaux is a southpaw. Make sure he get that foot outside that foot, and that's where Lomachenko has a lot of success at. Is his foot being outside that foot, setting up that straight right hand for him, you know, and you know that's gonna be very, very interesting for him to do that. And I think for him is just change the ranges, find out which range Rigondeaux is most uncomfortable at, and I think being right up in Rigondeaux's face is good for him, and going in and out and stepping over. And firing his jab is going to be important. I mean, we all know the jab in this fight is going to be important, so I don't have to harp on that. But for him, I think that's important. You know, putting smart pressure, but shortening his shots up, and then once he feel Rigondeaux energy level start to drop, then pouring it on him late, kind of wooing him into a trap him. You know, both guys are smart fighters, and that's what I like to see Lomachenko do. Instead of doubling up his jab, single the jab up. And step out of range. Then come back, step over range. 1, 2, you know, and just do things differently that he doesn't expect you to do. Because I'm pretty sure him and Pedro Diaz has studied a lot of tape on Lomachenko, and I think that's very, very important for Lomachenko to do. Do not do that dumbass shit. 3, 4, 5 punch combinations and try to step out. Rigondeaux will be waiting for that. 1, 2, shorten it up, and then when you feel that work rate starting to drop, that pressure that you're applying on him, then drop 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then he ain't going to respond. He'll be ready to go later in the fight. And for Rigondeaux, the important thing for him to do is to pressure Lomachenko. I think that's key. At some point in this fight, he's going to have to move his hands. If he's standing there and try to go tit for tat for Lomachenko, I don't know. I mean, I can't tell you. But I've seen a lot of guys. Well, I've seen one guy, Lomachenko, Orlando Salido, pressure him. And he doesn't like to be on the back foot, really. Not unless he's dictating he wants to be on the back foot. And if I'm Rigondeaux, I think the body is very important. If he comes in there throwing them 4, 5, 6 shots, I think it's important for Rigondeaux to try to punch with Lomachenko and time him. Because a lot of guys cover up and go into that defensive shell when Lomachenko get to throwing them pity-pat shots. And then later in the fight, you know, those accumulation of shots get harder and harder and wear him down. Rigondeaux needs to take a chance and punch with him. It might not be the easiest thing to do, but he has to time and punch with him. And I think he should time and punch with him and take over and take him to the body. I think he should counter to the body a lot, take the air out of the tires from Lomachenko. Rigondeaux is a bigger puncher than Salido is as far as being explosive. Real piercing power, and I think that's going to be the case at 130. Heard him drop 3 straight sparring partners to the body with the same punches according to Regis Progress when they was down at Ronnie Shields' gym and Plex Gym down in Houston. I think that's very important. It's the counter-punching ability of Lomachenko. If he's not going to pressure, Rigondeaux, if he's not going to pressure Lomachenko, he needs to punch with him and time him. And I think he can get the stoppage if he does that, especially to the body. He's an excellent body puncher from what I'm hearing and what I see sometimes. And I think it's very important for him to punch with Lomachenko. Punch with him. Take a chance, you know. And you got to take a chance. Chances make champions. But I think he should pressure him. But I think it's very key to counter Lomachenko, for Rigondeaux to bring body punching, counter punching, and punch with Lomachenko or bring aggressiveness. Those are the 4 keys if you're going to win the fight. But for me, I like Lomachenko, 10th round stoppage, by accumulation. I think he's going to do a little bit what I said, and I just think he's the bigger fighter. I just think he's just a bigger fighter, and I don't see Rigondeaux breaking tendencies, and he's going to probably be gun shy like he usually